excerpt from what he said, and the court was charging him with being a communist and consorting with communists. And so here's what he said. It was very interesting because he talked about the West, and he said, well, I believe it is, my lord, for my own part, I believe it's open to debate whether the Communist Party has any specific role to play at this stage of our political struggle. The basic task at the present moment is the removal of race discrimination and the attainment of democratic rights on the basis of the Freedom Charter, and a struggle which can best be led by a strong ANC. Insofar, my lord, as that party furthers this task, I welcome its assistance. I realize it's one of the main means by which people of all races can be drawn into our struggle. But from my reading of Marxist literature and from conversations with Marxists, I've gained the impression that communists regard the parliamentary system of the work of the West as undemocratic and reactionary. But on the contrary, I am a great admirer of such a democratic system. The Magna Carta, the Petition of Rights, the Bill of Rights are documents which are held in veneration by Democrats throughout the world. I have great respect for British political institutions and for the country's system of justice. I regard the British Parliament as the most democratic institution in the world, and the independence and impartiality of its judiciary never fail to arouse my admiration. The American Congress, that country's doctrine of separation of powers, the Bill of Rights, as well as the independence of its judiciary, arouse in me similar sentiments. I have been influenced in my thinking by both West and East. All this has led me to feel that in my search for a political formula, I should be absolutely impartial and objective. I must leave myself free to borrow the best from the West and the East. And then he closes by saying this. South Africa is the richest country in Africa and could be one of the richest countries in the world, but it is a land of extremes and remarkable contrasts. The whites enjoy what may well be the highest standard of living in the world, while Africans live in poverty and misery. 40% of the Africans live in hopelessly overcrowded and drought-stricken reserves, where soil erosion and the overworking of the soil makes it impossible for them to live properly off the land. 30% are laborers, labor tenants, and squatters on white farms, and work and live under conditions similar to those of the serfs of the Middle Ages. The other 30% live in towns where they have developed economic and social habits which bring them closer to white standards. Yet most Africans, even in this group, are impoverished by low incomes and the high cost of living. He says, above all, my lord, what we want is equal political rights, because without them, our disabilities will be permanent. I know this sounds revolutionary to the whites in the country, because the majority of voters will be Africans. This makes the white men fear one person, one vote democracy. But this fear cannot be allowed to stand in the way of the only solution which will guarantee racial harmony and freedom for all. It is not true that the enfranchisement of all will result in racial domination. Political division based on color is entirely artificial, and when it disappears, so will the domination of one color group by another. The ANC has spent half a century fighting against racism. When it triumphs, as it certainly must, it will not change that policy. This, then, is what the ANC is fighting. Our struggle is a national one. It is a struggle of all the African people inspired by our own suffering and our own experience. It is a struggle for the right to live. During my lifetime, I have dedicated my life to this struggle with African people. I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and a free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal for which I hope to live for and to see realized in my lifetime. But my lord, if it need be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die. And then